Boys. This show just doesn't know how to not get better and better. It's every episode is at least as good as the last episode, but probably even better. The comic book was great, and the show does not disappoint. Butcher is a horrible person. So the show is really about a horrible person being motivated to try to unalive a slightly more horrible person that has superpowers. Because Butcher does things, says things, I know that he's filled right now with that cancerous venom-like symbiote type thing that's happening with him, and it's probably messing with his mind, man. But he was horrible before. Let's face it. He was a horrible guy before. And in this episode, they find out that Soldier Boy is immune to the virus, the soup-killing virus. And Homelander finds out that his immunity comes from being a recipient of V1, the original V, which was so powerful that it essentially makes you immortal. So I'm wondering how Stormfront killed herself by swallowing her tongue. I mean, that's difficult to do anyway, to kill yourself doing that. But she was a soup, a super soup. She had compound V1 in her system. First off, it seems like her body would eventually just start to heal itself, grow back and everything. But it didn't. And I'm wondering what's up with that. A virus that is specifically targeting the V in their system to kill soups didn't kill Soldier Boy. But she got blasted with heat vision and she's terminal. How'd that happen? Now I'm starting to think, do they have her body somewhere? And she's just healing, sort of like Conquest and Invincible. They got him in a block of concrete. They thought he was dead, but he's healing? Maybe. I don't know. I wonder about that. She's got the same stuff in her system that Soldier Boy has got, and Soldier Boy is what they're saying is immortal. He's unkillable. Full stop. So now I'm wondering how to kill him. Because they gotta get rid of him. This is the final season. Or is he going to evolve into another show? I don't know. I'm curious. A lot of questions. But Homelander now wants V1. So he tells Sister Sage, who's apparently in charge of the troops, to get those dudes out there and look for it. Plus, he wants her to try to remake it. She came up for a cure for cancer when she was like 13, 14 years old, and she did it in a week. Seems like she could figure this out. A human figured it out, and she's smarter than anyone. Seems like she could do it. But, I don't know. We'll see. She could maybe get a sample of Soldier Boy's blood, but I don't know how they would get it. The dude, you can't kill him, you can't cut him. Anyway, I'm curious about that. But Homelander wants that bad. That's what that side of the story is. The other side of the story is Butcher wants it also because he doesn't want Homelander to get it. The third side of this story, there's three sides, is now the boys want it because when they release the virus, Kimiko and Starlight could possibly survive. And maybe Butcher too, but really they just said Kimiko and Starlight. So it will wipe out all soups on the planet. Probably not the humans. They're taking a big chance. But, that's a big chance. You release that stuff and then humans start falling. That's it. It's all over with. But they're willing to take the chance. So now they've got to find it. So they end up going to Stan Edgar's home, which I thought was a little bit of a risk. But they go there, but the Seven is coming there too. And they engage with one another. Translucent's kid is there, Maverick, and he's been told that Homelander unalived his father, which kind of makes sense. I mean, his skin was pretty much unbreakable, so it would have to be somebody like Homelander to actually finally get that guy. But it was Huey. We all know it was Huey. And Huey, being the soft heart that he is, keeps approaching the kid, trying to talk to him. And everybody in the room can feel that Huey's probably going to say, I did it, man, I killed your dad, and start crying or something and then get himself unalived. So Starlight keeps telling him, man, Annie keeps telling him, stop talking to that kid, what are you doing? But he can't help himself, he's Huey. And that's the crazy thing about him. So that's going on, that's building tension. And you just know that it's going to come to a head. And it does. Maverick figures out what's going on. Well, he doesn't really figure it out. The Deep tells him what happens. And kid's invisible, so it's hard to see. And he's walking around with no clothes on, so you can't see him. And he attacks Huey. And then Cindy shows up. And I think she was trying to kill Huey because she does her crushing power thing. And I think she was trying to kill Huey, but she killed Maverick, who was standing in front of Huey. So it makes me wonder how her power works. Does she just project an implosion in different places? Because if she was looking at Huey, you know what, that's probably the answer. She was looking at Huey, not realizing that she was actually looking at Maverick. So when she projected her power, it went for where she was looking at, and she was technically looking at Maverick. And technically she was looking at Huey. Huey should have blown up too, or possibly even instead of. And when he blows up, I think that she thought she got him, because there was a splatter of blood. It was everywhere. And then Annie, thinking that Huey died, she unalives Cindy, which I think is a little bit of a waste. It's the end of the season. It's the end of the show. So I guess they can kill whoever they want to kill. They're probably not going any further than this. But Cindy, I think, should have had a more dramatic ending. Someone just walked behind her and click, broke her neck, and that was it. She fell to the ground. And she was clearly insane, too, because they ask her basically, what is your origin story? And she tells the wildest, weirdest cartoon thing. She's like, yeah, I was abducted by aliens and brought back to Earth, and I was hidden in the tunnel with the mole man. And she just tells this story that makes all of the other people in the car just kind of look at each other like, what? She's clearly insane. So that could have played a part as to why she killed Maverick, the invisible kid, instead of Huey, because Maverick was on Huey trying to choke him out, and she's like, gotcha, but she gotcha'd the wrong guy. That's my assumption of what happened. Of course, I mean, she could have just been flat out trying to kill Maverick, but she would have had to have known he was there. She would have had to have known it without being able to see him. And then you got to wonder why she would kill him. So there's that. Homelander is very disappointed at the Deep, and the Deep needs a win. And he tells him, he's in the car with the other soups that are headed, the other 7 that are headed to go try to get Stan. And he tells him, thanks, man, I really needed a win, And Noir just kind of looks at him, and it looks away. I'm wondering who that is too under that mask, because I don't think it's Noir too. But he gets the chance to goof over his teammates and kidnap Stan and bring him to Homelander. And it just, it fits. It fits. I think, I got the impression that maybe Noir was going to take him himself, or maybe Noir was going to help him escape, because they're by themselves and it didn't look like he was going to let anybody know what was going on. And if you remember in the beginning, Noir worked with the Seven, but he worked for Stan. You know, when he's about to give that work to Billy, the phone rings and he answers it, you know, mid-assassination. And then he does what he tells him to do. He just leaves them alone. Even though Homelander wanted them, you know, annihilated. He listens to Stan instead. So I'm wondering who's under that mask now, because the original one, Black Noir, was unalived. The second Black Noir showed up, and I'm thinking, you know, the Homelander looked through Noir's mask and he knew about his mangled face. He must have looked through the mask, even if it was just out of curiosity, at Noir too. He probably picked him. He was picking everybody else on the team. He probably picked the guy to be Noir too and put the mask on so he knew what he looked like. I don't know what's going on with this Noir, but it seems like Homelander at some point would have looked through his mask. But he's got so much stuff going on, it's possible that he didn't. And if he didn't, then that opens up a lot of possibilities. Somehow, the original Noir could be under that mask. It also could be that this Noir 2, a method actor, is fully into character now. Now, we've seen him fly, so maybe he has other abilities also that he just didn't tell anybody about. They say that Rock Hard was nearly as strong and as powerful as Homelander. Maybe there are other soups that also are nearly as powerful, or maybe even more powerful than Homelander, but they just didn't want to, you know, come out and say, yeah, I'm stronger than him, because they didn't want that smoke. It's possible. And if that's possible, maybe Noir 2 is one of those people, like Rockhard. He's nearly as invulnerable, nearly as strong, nearly as powerful. Maybe Noir 2 is also. And as a method actor, he's slipped into being Noir. And maybe he knows that Homelander unalived his predecessor. And if he has slipped into being Noir, has he convinced himself that he wants revenge? It's possible. It's possible. So that fool could potentially be as powerful as Homelander. He's a method actor, and those guys slip into the character sometimes. And he could want revenge for what happened to Noir, even though he's not Noir. He's a method actor, so he's pretending to be Noir. So he could be, you know, the end of Homelander, possibly. Though to be honest, I think it's going to take a bunch of them, and honestly, I'm not sure that they can do it. Nobody on the show so far seems to be his actual equal. Even when three of them, who one of them said that he was as tough, if not tougher, three of them jumped him, and he just flexed them off and just flew away. I'm not sure. The second most powerful soup, Queen Maeve, fought him, and she was just a nuisance. Which brings me to this episode. Butcher convinces Ryan that he could take Homelander, and Ryan gives it a shot. And Ryan gets the business. He gets the brakes beaten off of him, and not really with a lot of effort from Homelander. Ryan hits him with his laser eyes, and he's like, "What you doing, sport?" He barely noticed it. And then when he decided, because Ryan was trying to fight him, when he decided to fight back, you could see he was a little hesitant. But then he wasn't, and he just beat him. The good thing is, he did not kill him. So there's a little bitty teeny tiny bit of humanity left in Homelander, or he just has to make sure that he has a predecessor. He doesn't even need anybody to take over now, because he's positive he's going to get himself a dose of Gen 1 and he's going to be immortal. V1. So maybe if he gets that, they're done. But I think what's going to happen is Ryan is going to get it, and then he'll be able to beat his dad, because it'll give him an upgrade. Maybe, I don't know. But I'm still thinking also, in the background, you still have Sister Sage, who's been running everything from the background since Homelander interrupted her in the bathroom. He came there and he offered her a seat. She immediately started plotting. And just that quick, just in those few moments of him talking to her, she came up with a plan to overthrow America, man, in a few minutes after she got off the bathroom. So this whole time, she's got to have come up with an idea. I still kind of think she's going to be the demise of Homelander. She's going to get rid of that soup virus, and she's probably going to take over the world from the background. Smartest person on the planet. Plans upon plans upon plans. She's Lex Luthor's mind meets Batman's mind, with a little sprinkle of Dr. Doom and Reed Richards in there. I think she's going to be the final one standing, because there can be only one. I think it's going to be Sister Sage. But we'll see. But for this episode, I would give this episode of The Boys 8 bags of popcorn. 8 bags of popcorn. Because that's what I think about that. More importantly, what do you think about that? Now that you had a chance to look at the video, let's talk about it some more in the comments. And as always, if you like the video, if you like the content, subscribe. And then like.